I think with the advent of platforms and social media, we have many more possibilities to design our life and to design the experience and the interface of our life. And I think that is something that's gonna even increase in the coming years. And each of these social systems or doctrines produces specific aesthetics that speak about the way in which these media have become a part of our life. It's entirely possible for you to live life in different levels of production value. So your physical life may have a very low production value. You can amplify this or hide this in various ways by which you can create versions of yourself. And these versions are all about the interplay between reality, desire, information, and all these things at the same time. But at the same time, of course, the way that we live life and the way that we experience life is never purely aesthetic.
He said then there is the idea of disposability. It seems to me that disposability is the incarnation of impossibilities of immaterialism.
The space between life as a design aesthetic experience or the aesthetic experience of life as it's mediated through different interfaces and different platforms versus the reality that underlies that is maybe going to be unbridgeable in the sense that waking up to reality might be a shock, a trauma, or it might be luxury. There is a certain social structuration of platforms in the way that we portray ourselves, so that everything you put online about yourself on Facebook should be shareable, desirable, good, beautiful in a way. So there's a particular understanding of friend which is valid in the context of California or the United States or Harvard, the environment where Facebook emerged, where there is a large blurred territory between friend and acquaintance, and just capture it all by saying friend. So this decision made on the scale of a small, of a local place where there is not much consequences, of course, doesn't mean a lot. But when that becomes a definition that changes for everyone who uses Facebook in the world what a friend is, even though we know that the people that are our friends on Facebook are not always our friends, is profound. You could say that the interface, although it even aesthetically can be completely neutral, is never neutral in the way that it relates to our life and the way that it relates to our relationships. So there is a moment where the term the cloud, introduced in the mid-2000s, is a way for computer engineers to talk about an internet that is everywhere and nowhere. An internet that is immaterial and that therefore can be literally in the sky, in the air. But the term of the cloud is ultimately a very misleading term, obviously, because this information is still stored somewhere. And of recently there has been a lot of interest in where is this real internet? In the sub-ocean data cables in data centers, in cable landing points where the information goes through. Whatever we do in our digital lives, whatever we share, whatever we store somewhere, is actually in a physical place. Russian submarines have been seen near one of those cables that constitute the key transatlantic internet connection, lying on the seabed. And they wrote that Russia might threaten the internet, Russia might cut the cable, which is, of course, not something they will do. But it shows that in different narratives there can be an interest in emphasizing that the internet has a physical structure. One conservative libertarian group in the US has proposed or is lobbying to cut off the water supply to the main data center of the National Security Agency in Utah, which consumes enormous amounts of water in a very water-scarce area. It's not only that the internet itself has a large footprint, but it's also that that footprint is completely interconnected with other infrastructures to be made. Do you want to provide water to a city in the desert, or do you want to provide water to a large surveillance data center in the desert? And ultimately, since resources are not endless, there is a real battle there. The actual way in which this infrastructure works is becoming increasingly centralized. So originally the word internet stands for a network of networks, or it stands for a network without a center, a distributed network. But with the replacement of the internet by platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, Google, platforms that in a sense you never really leave anymore, it's reshaping to these people what the internet is, and can kind of move on immediately with the Coca-Cola internet, which is a more limited and more manageable and more, in many ways, directly designed version. This idea that the internet is this tool of political change is around the 2004 US elections, where the term online political citizen is invented as a way to describe voters that are very prone to share or create their own information, by which they become a influential factor that cannot be covered by traditional media, like television. This term, the online political citizen, has then been used to also describe other political events in the world, such as the 2004 Orange Revolution in Ukraine, which where the same logic that had been applied to the US 2004 US election was applied to events in Ukraine around corrupt government, etc. But at the time that happened, only about 2 to 4% of Ukrainian citizens had internet access. In a climate where the rest of the media are completely controlled, but the internet is not, by which, in order to regain control over the narrative, the local authoritarian has to basically cut off the entire internet in order to shut the conversation, to block the conversation, to block the organization. And now we see that governments seem to have taken fuller control over the way in which this architecture works. So they can also afford to spend much more money and hours and people on creating distortions on the internet. So for every hashtag that says something about reality in this sort of country, a government can hire 75,000 trolls, or it can deploy 75,000 Twitter bots that all pollute this hashtag, by which it becomes impossible to find the real information that you were looking for.